God only knows how it's killing you, but there's a kind of love.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's get ready for day 2 of Dangerous Consciousness.
God only knows what they say about you, but God only knows the real you.
God only knows the real you.
There's a kind of love that
All right,
God
let's
only
get started.
knows.
Another PowerPoint presentation. If any of you on,
God only
hold on,
knows how it's
over here.
killing you, but there's a kind of love.
Hey, good morning,
that
everybody.
God only knows.
Let's get ready for day 2. Got it. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning. Oh, not Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, VIP community. Hey, listen, quick question for you. Are you ready for more of what you want and less of what you don't? Today's conversation is going to be a continuation of the introduction of Dangerous Consciousness. My name is Sean Murphy. I'm an international speaker trainer. I haven't stood on an international stage in a little while because of some challenges, right? But I've stood on 30 plus stages in 30 plus countries. I've been translated into over 40 different languages. I've helped probably in the last 20 years, about $2 billion in sales, increased new sales for companies. So it's not a lot if you break it down over 20 years. The whole point is that it's all about how you communicate with another human being. I've been the vice president of sales of a $200 million network marketing company, my first job ever. I've been an entrepreneur. I should say I've been an artist entrepreneur, meaning that I love to build things. I don't love to get rid of them. Entrepreneurs love to get rid of them. I don't love to get rid of them. I love to hold on to them. I love to build things. So that all being said, I've done for the last 4 years episodes of morning shows, of podcasts, call it what you want. Episode 1,430 something is now. And the last year I spent 12 months on masterminding. And this year, and you can learn more about that in the compressed version of 12weekswithsean.com. You can go to 12weekswithsean.com and learn more about that. This year, starting yesterday, February 1st, for the next 28 days, every 28 days is going to be a new session. So we're going to go through 12 sessions over the course of the rest of the year on becoming more conscious. And today the conversation is to include a little bit more dialogue about the beginnings of it and how it came about and why consciousness is so absolutely vital in today's conversation, in today's economy, in today's community, and where we're going, because we are being, dare I say, attacked. I'll say a nicer word, influenced at such levels of consciousness that we are becoming unconscious again. So that being said, let's dive in. I'm going to go share some screens with you. I'm going to share this, put this over here, share a screen with you. If you want to go watch the PowerPoint, for those of you on Instagram, if you want to go watch the PowerPoints, you can go to Events with Sean, eventswithsean.com. And you can join us there in the VIP room. Somebody will let you in and you can come watch the presentation as it's going on. Where's my share screen? Here it is. Back to basic and share that. Now, if somebody could give me an audible that you could see that Dangerous Consciousness.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Here we go. So you always got to check that stuff, right? Even though you can see it on your monitors, but you just always want to check. So Dangerous Consciousness, day 2. So the question then becomes, where's the story of consciousness come from? Where does this thing come about? What is this idea, this concept, this desire, this thing that we talk about, consciousness, that we don't really understand all that well? So the insight into the nature of consciousness, by studying the different theories and perspectives of consciousness, we can gain deeper understanding of what consciousness is and how it arises. In the next couple of slides, it's going to be very critical for you to grasp what happens when you don't have this awareness of consciousness, right? So that's what dog was chewing on the chair. Got to move the chair. I was like, what is that sound? I digress. It's a scientific advancement. So you got to remember, when consciousness first started with Plato's and Aristotle and all of those people, they really didn't have that much sophistication of science and technology, correct? So by examining the historical and philosophical roots of the study of consciousness, we can gain better understanding of the current state and research field, of the directions of and the future research fields. So let me first understand, for those of you that may be on a time crunch and you really want to just dive into the nuts and bolts, what does it mean if I understand my consciousness more? What does it mean if I become a little bit more conscious? Well, How many of you feel that your goal setting achievement gets put on pause sometime? Listen carefully. How many of you feel sometimes you wind up paused in your progress towards your future? So here's what happens. If you lack a self-awareness, it puts everything in question. How many of you question some business decisions you're making? How many of you question some relationship decisions you're making? How many of you question whether you invest in a financial opportunity? How many of you are a little bit hesitant about stepping out on your own? How many of you are a little hesitant about changing your relationship status on Facebook? Listen, drop an R in the chat if you know anybody who struggled with changing their relationship status on Facebook. Drop an R in the chat. That would be funny. Wouldn't that be funny to see that? Well, I think there's probably a few of them. Do you know why I say that? Because they lack self-awareness. And they lack self-awareness because of their consciousness. So if changing your status, follow me, if changing your status on Facebook caused you angst, anxiety, I really got to ask you the tough question. Could stepping out of your comfort zone be something that could challenge you to keep you from your existing at your highest and best levels of success? I'm just saying. I got a bunch of slides, so let me get through them because I'm talking to myself now. Difficult to set and stick to clear goals without understanding personal consciousness. It's difficult to do that. Right? Resulting in a tendency towards procrastination and delay. I'm not going to ask you, but do you know anybody out there in the world, drop a P or a D if they procrastinate or they delay on their success? Here's another reason you want to take yourself off pause and you want to become conscious. You want to become aware. A strong self-awareness leads to a clear understanding in the motives and the values and the priorities that you have set, that you want in place. That makes sense? It allows for setting and pursuing goals with alignment with your personal values and priorities. See, there's always this disconnect. This disconnect that we wind up living in is our disconnect from our priorities, our values, and our desires. See, stress comes from when your actions and your thoughts and your feelings are out of alignment. Who has control over your thoughts? Who has control over your feelings? What created your feelings? Your thoughts. What creates your actions? Your feelings. I don't feel like doing it. How many of you say, I don't think like doing it? I haven't heard anybody. And you ever hear anybody say, I don't think like doing it? We say, I don't feel like doing it. It's because we haven't become fully consciously aware of our capability and our capacity. And it helps avoid procrastination and delay. So let's talk about where and how the study of consciousness has come along and see how far we've come and how little we've come. So what have we learned since ancient Greece? Plato introduced the idea of the soul and its relationship to the body, while Aristotle introduced the concept of perception of the sensation as the basis of consciousness. So there's this tactile feeling and there's this emotional feeling. What else have we learned? So going on to the 17th century, Descartes, René Descartes famously argued that mind and body are separate entities, a view known as dualism. He believed that the mind and the non-physical substance that interacts with the physical body. He believed that the mind was a non-physical substance that interacts with the body. Well, Wattles in the early 1900s said there is a thinking stuff from that which permeates and penetrates and fills all the spaces of the universe. Was Descartes talking about that? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to him. So let's go to the 17th to 18th century, the Enlightenment era. Brought about the focus on the science. See, we went from this spiritual world to the microscope world. And we believe that everything in the world is now able to be viewed under the microscope. Well, here's the thing. When you get down to an atom and you start to look at the electrons, the protons, the neutrons, and the croutons that are all rotating around the cell, the atom, the center, the nucleus, it's about 2% stuff, 98% nothing. So there's still this nothingness. So at some point we were there until we decided to become logical. And when we became logical, we took all of the non-physical out of it. So it's a rational inquiry leading to a growing interest in understanding the workings of the mind and consciousness. So Darwin in evolution, Darwin's theory of evolution provided a new framework for understanding the origin and development of consciousness and suggested that consciousness and other mental abilities evolve other time through natural selection. Well, let's see. Natural selection, right? The ones who aren't quite the sharpest knives in the drawer don't make it through. I don't know about that. There's some proof against that. But all of this to say is that, does your consciousness evolve over time? Does it evolve through natural selection? I don't know if it evolved through a natural selection. I do know that you were programmed based upon everybody that was around you, your environment. So let's jump to the 20th century, the rise of the neuroscience. This is all about consciousness and why it's so important to understand. Do you know that Harvard now teaches courses on, we'll get to that in just a second. The development of modern neuroscience marked a significant milestone in the understanding of consciousness, providing new tools and techniques for studying the brain and its role in consciousness. See, consciousness is all of a sudden bigger than the mind, bigger than the role, bigger than the brain. Consciousness studies. The field of consciousness studies emerged as an interdisciplinary, was he able to pronounce that word? Interdisciplinary field of study, bringing together researchers from various fields such as psychology, physiology, neuroscience, and cognitive science to better understand the nature of consciousness. Advances, right? 21st century. In recent years, advances in neuroscience and neuroimaging have provided new insights into the neural processes underlying consciousness, as well as the new ways of investigating and manipulating consciousness and experience. So for thousands of years, listen carefully, pay attention to this. Well, you don't have to, but if you did, it probably would serve you. For thousands of years, we've been looking to understand consciousness. Have we ever not had consciousness? Pay attention. Have we ever not had consciousness? No, we've always had it. It's taken 2,000 years to figure it out. Maybe there's a higher being. Maybe there's somebody that has influence over that in their creation created something pretty amazing. This isn't a conversation of whether there is or isn't a higher being. The question is how could we for 2,000 years with some pretty smart minds be studying stuff and not find the answer? Maybe it's not meant to be found. Why are we trying to put in a box something that's galactic, that's universal in nature, that's the universe in nature? Does that make sense? So when you sit down from across from a prospect and you're trying to figure them out in a 35-minute presentation, good luck. Now there's certain human patterns. There's certain human patterns that exist in human nature that are predictable. Human beings are wildly predictable. Here's what Joe Dispenza says. Joe Dispenza's perspective on consciousness is focused on the idea that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can shape both our internal experience and our external world. By cultivating new ways of thinking and being, we can transform our lives. Joe Dispenza boils this down into a phrase that he says that sounds like this. Your personal reality is made up by your personal reality. Your personality is made up by your personal reality. Or your personal reality makes up your personality. You live in a crappy world, there's a chance you might have a crappy attitude. You're a good person, you might make the world around you a better place, and people are like, I'm just so glad to see you all the time. So it goes both ways, but it's based upon the weight, the gravity of the vibration, and how it's going to pull you. Either you pull out to the universe and your personality influences your personal reality, or you let your personal reality dictate your personality. All right. Current influencers, again, Bruce Lipton is big on, he's one of the founding authors, if you will, of something called epigenetics, that when the universe changes, it can allow your genes to adapt and turn on and turn off. Bruce's perspective on consciousness emphasizes that the ideas that our thoughts and beliefs can shape our biology and health. How many of you know you can think yourself well or you can think yourself sick? How many of you know people who talk about, oh man, I feel like I'm getting a cold, and they don't really seem like they have a cold, but I'll be damned if they don't get a cold. right? They talk themselves into it. We can shape our biology and our health, and that we have the power to change our lives through the power of positive thinking and conscious choice. Jim Rohn, some of you know Jim Rohn, right? Jim Rohn's perspective on consciousness. He was a big business philosopher, and he talked about positive mental attitude and a variety of things. But his ideas on consciousness, you may or may not be aware of, emphasize the idea that becoming more conscious of our thoughts, attitudes, and habits, we can take control of our lives, create our experiences and outcomes we desire. Now, where do you read all of this? Right? James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, Wallace D. Wattles, Science of Getting Rich, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Earl Nightingale, Influence the Field, right? The Strangest Secret, The Greatest Secret, Rhonda Bryan, the book, The Magic. You've got all of these people when they talk about their success stories, right? How to win friends, influence people. When you talk about all of these people, all of these words, we can take control of our lives and create our experiences and outcomes we desire when we have a stronger sense of consciousness. He believed that personal growth and learning were critical components to success, and that the focus on conscious and intentional self-development was key to creating a fulfilling and successful life. What are you consciously doing today? What are you becoming consciously aware of today? Deepak Chopra, one of Wayne Dyer's good friends, perspective on consciousness emphasizes the idea that consciousness is the underlying reality of the universe. Quantum physics. Nothing exists until we measure it. Nothing exists until it becomes you become consciously aware of it. Does that make sense? Consciousness is the underlying reality of the universe, and that our thoughts and beliefs and perceptions shape our experiences and reality. He believes that by connecting with the universal consciousness through meditation and spiritual practices, we can tap into a source of inner wisdom and power and create greater happiness, wealth, success in our lives. The reason I'm sharing all of this with you is as we go into the science of it, as we go into the meditation practice of it, and as we go into the daily activities of it over the course of the next year, the rest of the year, you're going to wind up with a truly an unfair advantage that's not going to require you to understand algorithms or require you to use scripts, because the script you have will be so much connected to the universe and the person that you're sitting across from. They'll feel like you've read their mind. Would that be of any value? So medicine and consciousness. How many of us know about a placebo, right? That a sugar pill is stronger than some of the best medicine that we have. For example, studies have shown that stress, how many of you know that stress and negative emotions can have a significant impact in our physical health? They say about 80% of doctors' visits are stress related. Have a negative impact on our physical health, and that come back here. Oh, hold please. Here we go. See, anybody can do this. Have positive in focus and self-care to help boost our immune systems and overall health. When you feel better, your body's better. It's literally when you feel better, your cells are operating better. In summary, the relationship between medicine and consciousness is complex. Not so much. It's complex because they can't figure out how to make money off of it. Did I say that? If I'm not here tomorrow, you'll know why. Medicine and consciousness is complex and multifaceted, and it continues to be a subject of ongoing research and debate. However, there is a growing recognition, really, it's just starting to grow, a growing recognition of the importance of considering the role of consciousness in medicine and exploring the ways in which our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can impact our physical health. So here's the word I want you to write down. For those of you on Instagram, if you're not on the PowerPoint slide, if you're not in the VIP group, it's called conscious capitalism. Write that down. It doesn't quite feel right. Conscious capitalism. Some businesses are incorporating mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness and meditation practices into their employee training and development programs, with the goal of improving focus, creativity, and overall well-being. What is the biggest challenge that we as entrepreneurs in the business have? Have an idea that when we want to I'm going to get focused on my business. We don't say I'm going to become conscious capitalistic, right? We just say I need to get focused. I need to find my why. Well, they figured out in business world, and they do with the acumen, that conscious capitalism is this idea that we're going to make more money if we can get you more focused. It sounds nice, though, doesn't it? Overall, with the goal of improving focus, creativity, and overall well-being. Additionally, there's a growing interest in the concept of conscious capitalism, which explains the importance of creating businesses that are aligned with the values of social responsibility, sustainability, and ethical leadership. At what point were those things not important? Somebody want to tell me at what point was social responsibility not a good business practice, or sustainability not a good business practice, or ethical leadership that was not a good practice, that all of a sudden we now have to bring in this idea of social this conscious capitalism? I'd take a screenshot that, and if this is the first time you've heard it, I'd post it out that, listen, I just learned something with the farm boy from Ohio. He taught me something pretty good today. Conscious capitalism. Did y'all get your screenshot? So here's colleges in consciousness. The University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business, and the University of Pennsylvania offer courses on positive psychologies, which covers the well-being, which covers the science of well-being and success. This is being taught in business schools, something that's been innate in us. When you were the little, anybody ever do the lemonade stand? Anybody ever do the lemonade stand? Weren't you consciously conscious of taking care of your customers when you did the lemonade stand, and you offered just absolutely wildly tremendous value? Now it's made itself to universities. So colleges in consciousness. The Stanford University offers a college in mindfulness and emotional intelligence. What's that phrase? Anybody remember? Anybody have that phrase running through their head right now? Everything I needed to know, I learned where? In kindergarten. Mindfulness and emotional intelligence, which explores the ways in which mindfulness and self-awareness can enhance leadership and overall well-being. See, you're going to go through I don't know that it's a college class, but I bet it's going to be, it'll have more detail. Most doctors, when they talk about nutritionals, how much time do they spend in their medicine understanding and education? Do they spend on actually nutritionals? Do they spend on the mind, body, well-being? Not a whole lot of time. You're going to spend, I don't know, let's just say it's half an hour, 300 days, 150 hours. That's more than most universities teach on the whole course. I'm just saying, you might want to have an unfair advantage as you go throughout your business life and your business acumen, and training your kids and your grandkids on how to be prepared for where business is going to be in 6 months. Because when you're consciously aware of where you are now, you're not always going to be a day late to the prom. Harvard University offers a number of courses and programs related to science, success, consciousness, including positive psychology, mindfulness and leadership, and the science of success. Kind of woo-woo, wouldn't you say, if you put those out at the dinner tables, telling your friends, I'm going to go to the positive psychology and mindfulness and leadership and success science. I'm going to go study those. What are you going to go learn? Underwater basket weaving? Well, it's being taught at Harvard. Really? Harvard's teaching that? So my question to you now, isn't it time for you to become more mindful? Isn't it time for you to begin to open up your consciousness? Isn't it time for you to have an unfair advantage that allows you to be wildly successful, more giving, more serving, without being taken advantage of? This is what consciousness allows you to do. So I'd encourage you to reach out. The program is going to be available starting next week. You'll have access to it. Where's my stop share? You'll be able to join me. It's a $10,000 for the year program. You're going to have access to it for $50 a month. $50 a month for those that are in the first month that started. After that, there's no telling where the price is going to go. Why? Because you're the first ones here. You're the ones that have stuck around. You're the ones that show up. It's not a $1,000 a month course. It's not a $500 a month course, although it will be. Imagine understanding being able to sit across from somebody, and because of their mannerisms, because of the way their gestures are, because of the way you hear them use words, you'll instantly be able to align with them and bring them on a journey versus drag them down a path. It's kind of that simple. All right. I love you tons. Thanks for joining me on day 2 of the introduction of Dangerous Consciousness and where it's going to take you. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for having the spirit and the energy and the desire to help this world get better, to be an incredible human being, but more importantly, to be a being that's having a human experience. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling misfit. Join me at SeanGMurphy.com. Join the email list. Reach out to me privately if you'd like to get access to the landing page where you can get started when it goes live. And I invite you there. I look forward to seeing you there. I am your head brain training, brain scrambling misfit, dangerously conscious. I'll see you where? I'll see you at the next event. Till then, bye for now, everybody. And there you go. And over here is where I would stop YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you tons. Appreciate you. Leave a comment in the chat or reach out to me